This review is brought to you by Audible. Alright, well the Xbox One is just a few days away, and Dead Rising 3 is the first game that I will be reviewing for it. If you've seen any previous footage of this game, then you've probably noticed that it's quite a bit darker than the previous ones, both in color palette and in tone, so I was curious to see if that actually extends to the full game. Here are my thoughts. Zombie games are a dime a dozen these days, but the Dead Rising series has always stuck out. Its ridiculous characters and staunch refusal to take itself seriously is both a good quality and one that makes it difficult to top. So how does Dead Rising 3's jump to the next generation improve on the series? The short answer is, it doesn't.
This wasn't supposed to happen.
And none of this was supposed to happen.
Dead Rising 3 takes place a decade after the events of Dead Rising 2, focusing on Nick Ramos, a young mechanic whose only discernible personality trait is his unwavering naivete. When a zombie outbreak suddenly hits the city of Los Perdidos, Nick must cooperate with a few remaining survivors and find a way out of the city within 7 days, before it's firebombed by the military. It's about as banal a plot as you could get, and Nick's role in this whole adventure is little more than an errand boy. His inability to do much of anything, aside from senseless zombie killing, makes him an easy target for support characters, who don't think twice about using him and selling him out 10 minutes later. It's infuriating to watch, and even more so at the end, when all of the characters are suddenly friends again, with little more than a sentence of explanation.
How about my life is at stake? How about you think about me for a change? How about you give a shit about that?
It's a generally eye-roll-inducing story, and Capcom's efforts to darken the game have unfortunately rid it of most of its humor. The only truly funny moments come from the various outfits Nick can wear, which seem all the more ridiculous when juxtaposed with serious cutscenes. But the crazy characters and odd sense of self-awareness that made the previous games so enjoyable feel like an afterthought with Dead Rising 3. The few tongue-in-cheek moments that are there are so off the wall and out of context with the rest of the game that they come across as utterly forced, as though the developers finished the game, realized that they forgot to make it funny, and added in a few sex jokes at the end. It's confusing, and frankly, it's more embarrassing than it is funny. The environments do little to help this, as the city of Los Perdidos just isn't all that fun or interesting to explore. The layout is terrible and was clearly designed to pad the game's length, forcing you to weave in and out of giant set pieces with roadblocks at almost every corner. Granted, it is quite a bit bigger than previous settings, so at the very least there are more opportunities to earn prestige points. These are the basis of the leveling system, and they are earned by doing just about everything, from killing zombies, to completing missions, to rescuing survivors. In addition to a considerable amount of side quests, Nick can also rescue stranded survivors and recruit others to join his posse. There are also survival training challenges scattered around the map, offering up hefty rewards for killing absurd amounts of zombies in very specific ways. The more of these activities Nick completes, the faster he'll level up, improving his skills and eventually learning new ones. Perhaps the best advantage Nick has is the ability to combine weapons and vehicles on the fly, without the need for a workbench. Blueprints can be found throughout the city, typically accompanied by the parts necessary to create them. With a decent amount of searching, Nick can experiment with dozens of different weapon combos, some capable of inflicting monumental damage. Safe houses now contain clothing and weapon lockers, allowing you to conjure up any previously made items. There is, of course, a limit to how many things you can redeem, but this is nonetheless a helpful addition that can often mean the difference between life and death. It's also worth pointing out that you no longer need to visit a safe house or a restroom to save your game, as it can all be done through the pause menu at any time.
What else do you know? You need to tell me now.
For the handful of gameplay improvements that have been made, I can't help but wonder how other, seemingly fixable design issues still manage to exist. Okay, so imagine this scenario. I'm in the middle of a boss fight, I'm about to die, and I need to eat something, but my inventory is full. I see an apple. I go to pick up the apple, but because my inventory is full, I must first put down the gun that I currently have equipped, then pick up the apple, eat the apple, and then pick the weapon back up. But oh wait, When I dropped the weapon earlier, it fell into a pile of 5 other apples, so now I get to sit there for 5 seconds in the middle of being killed by this boss and try to maneuver myself to the exact correct position just so I can pick my gun back up. There are lots of small design gripes like this that seem a little less forgivable after 4 or 5 games. But even so, it's hard to deny that Dead Rising 3 isn't at least a fun experience. There's inherent joy to be had in discovering new ways to maim and massacre dozens of zombies, and the game gives a lot of freedom with how you want to approach that. The campaign is around 20 hours, but the lengthy time limit means you could probably spend around 40 hours just exploring and still manage to beat the game in time. There's also drop-in, drop-out co-op, which supports up to 2 players, as well as online matchmaking that pairs you up with a partner based on your preferred style of play. If you like the more masochistic side of the series, you can also check out Nightmare Mode, which follows the rules of the original Dead Rising. No autosaves and much harsher time limits. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the next-gen features, which include Kinect voice commands for things like dropping your weapon or taunting zombies. Most of them aren't really all that useful, particularly if you live with others, and after a few hours, I turned my Kinect off altogether. Turns out, if you pause during a boss fight, a cough will sound exactly like the word resume.
Look, just because you're talking all funny like that, it doesn't mean it's making any sense.
The game is also not without its graphical problems. I noticed quite a bit of texture pop-in, as well as some really funky character animations that seem to get worse the more that I played. I am impressed, though, by how seamless the city of Los Perdidos is, with no loading screens anywhere to be found. And considering how many thousands of zombies are located within a mile of any given point, the game runs impressively smooth with minimal frame rate issues. At the end of the day, it's hard for me to recommend Dead Rising 3 to anyone looking for more than just a mindless zombie slasher. Perhaps if it had a better story or a better understanding of the humor that made the previous game so fun, then it could have improved upon them. But the way it is now, a dark, tedious, and vastly underwhelming game, it's hard not to look at it and see a shadow of the franchise's former self.
Hey!
Dead Rising 3 gets a 3 out of 5. If you're looking for a better way to consume media, then why not check out Audible? Audible is the leading provider of downloadable audiobooks with over 100,000 titles to choose from in every genre imaginable. Just pick out an audiobook, download it to your iPod or MP3 player, and play it back anywhere, anytime. My personal recommendation is The Stranger by Albert Camus, one of the great existential novels of the 20th century, and it's only 3.5 hours long. If you want to check it out, just head over to audiblepodcast.com/rev3games, and we will hook you up with a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. So there it is, my first review for the Xbox One, and sadly, the game was just not what I wanted it to be. I don't know why they decided to make it gritty and dark. Maybe they thought that would help them sell more copies or something, but for me, I would much rather they just go in the complete opposite direction, try to top it, get as weird as you can, just make it the Saints Row of zombie games. Whatever you do, just don't make it boring. That is the kiss of death as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, we are going to have a ton more Xbox One reviews and content up this week, including a 3-hour live show special that's happening at 9 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, November 21st. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.